Welcome back to the show. Are you tired of cold calling? I'm talking to you, leaders. Are you tired of leaving voicemails? Are you tired of not getting return phone calls? Yeah, me too. I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do to build know, like, and trust. So the next time you make phone calls, people answer. The next time you leave a message, they return the phone call. The next time you book an appointment, they're excited to see you. Enjoy the show. Remember what we talked about, right? Fast and reliable. Amazon, fast and reliable. Reliable requires a system. Y'all, it's us. We're the problem, okay? The system works. You just got to do it. And the more you do it, something really crazy happens. Oh, you get good at it, right? So you've got the recruit. The attraction plan is a little bit different. How many of you are tired of picking up the phone and calling people that you don't know? Right? It's brutal, right? Do you experience this? Okay, it's brutal, right? Wouldn't it be so cool when you pick up the phone that somebody was like, "Hey, Aaron," that would be different, wouldn't it be? "Hey, what are you doing, Todd?" "Oh, okay." The only way you can do that is through following a process to build connection. Tim in the back right now, poor Tim, right? So Tim makes phone calls, okay? He's the ISA, he's in sales. Tim had two lists. He had one list of people who knew who I was and one list who had no idea who I was, okay? And so which list did you like calling from? The one from people that knew, right? Because these were people that we'd already had a relationship, we'd already had connection with. We're in fruit land right now, right? If you go to an orange tree and you grab the oranges in the bottom, they're good, but you know where the really good ones are? They're higher up in the tree, okay? So pick the higher fruit. Well, in order to do that, you're gonna have to put a little effort in climbing the tree to get up to the higher fruit. The higher fruit happens when I send a text message and say, "Hey, we don't know each other, I just wanna make sure that you knew who I was." And then boom, now I'm in your social media. And then boom, I'm inviting you to my events. And then boom, I'm sending you a text message congratulating you on something that happened. And now I make the phone call. And at that point, now that I've reached out 4 or 5 times and I call you and say, "Hey, can we go grab coffee?" Or you're like, number one, you take my phone call because at this point, there's this thing called law of reciprocity. And are we going to coffee? Hell yeah, we're going to coffee. Would that be an easier phone call for you to make? Then do it, right? Follow the process. We have a secret weapon, and he's going to actually be one of our next speakers. But I want to talk about M&A for just 1 second, okay? Because there's a guy in the room who I think of 2 people in the entire industry, and one is no longer in the industry anymore, that have seen more P&Ls, seen more models, seen more companies, has more knowledge right here than this guy right here, right? And that's Brad Clayton. He has literally done more asset or valuation, business evaluations, helped in more M&A, done consulting from a CFO perspective and beyond than that guy right there. And again, the only other person would have been Steve Murray, and Steve's out of the business. Okay. Real estate professionals, you and I both know 87% of the licensees don't make it in this business. Don't worry, I don't have anything to sell you here, but what I do want to do is I want to impact your life. I want to change your life. In order for you to be the top of the top, you're going to need to do some things different, and one of those things is to become part of the Sales Warrior community. Subscribe below, it's free. Here's some stats for you. 75% of real estate brokerages, the owner is in production. 75%. Why is the owner in production? Brutal. It's brutal, okay? 57%, this is an old number, by the way, so I don't know what it is right now, but 57%, this is a 3-year-old number when the world was really, really good. 57% of the brokerages lose money. Well, why would you be in business if you lost money? Jason, why would you be in business if you lost money?
You wouldn't be for long.
Or probably what happens is I'm in production, and so while I think that I get 100%, I'm probably on a 50% split, right? With myself, because I'm a lunatic. M&A is very, very powerful. And if you can hack this game and you can figure out a way to identify companies that meet the criteria, even if they don't know that they need you, but they need you, and you can figure out a proven process for making connections with those people and building influence with them and their agents, by the way, then when you pick up that phone and you're having a conversation, at some point, you can't do it on the first time, right? But at some point, can't you say, "Look, man, I know your numbers as well as you know your numbers. It looks bloody over there. Isn't there something that we can do together?" It takes some confidence. And you have what it takes. I know every single one of you in this room, you have what it takes to make those phone calls. You don't need your owner making those phone calls for you. You make the phone calls. You're the leader. By the way, when your owner makes the phone calls, while there's more credibility, like we think about from an agent perspective, I would hope that my managers would be like, "Hey, anytime I can get Todd in front of an agent, like that's good, right?" Because there's just a different level. Like, it's hard to be a prophet in your own town. I get to come in and be the prophet. But when we're talking about M&A, it's the opposite. You have more power in those conversations. You'll get into more rooms than your owner will. And the reason is because owners are owners and they know each other. And of course, none of us want to tell the truth. Okay. But with you, if you have a conversation with them, they're thinking to themselves, well, maybe I can get that person to come work for me, right? So you'll get into more room, okay? But that's M&A. I don't want to gloss over this, although this isn't a growth school, right? We do a growth school where we literally spend 2 solid days going through everything there is to attract people. If this is an area of your business where you're struggling, you need to get tapped into growth school, but you got to learn the skills. Proven process, okay? Personal growth is the other growth. I will tell you that if without personal growth, we probably should have started with personal growth. Without personal growth, you're done. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just simply telling you, if you're unwilling to change, then nothing will change. You have people all around you. Agents are looking for growth. They're trying to grow. They're trying to build their businesses. We know all day, every day, how many people fail in this business. We know it. They all are trying to grow. If you're not demonstrating, why are they following you? Well, the answer is they're not. They're looking for somebody else who is showing growth, who is doing stuff. That's why a lot of the shiny things in the world, all I do is I talk about new ways of sending the same old email. They get traction. Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody teaching people how to do a deal of the week should not be taking your agents. That should be stuff that is already woven into your message because it's been around since before those people were born, probably, right? But you're the ceiling. We talk about speed of the leader, speed of the pack. You are the ceiling. If you are unwilling to raise your ceiling, what you're doing is you're putting a lid on what other people will be able to do. Write that down. If you are unable to raise your ceiling, you're putting a lid on the ceiling, or the lid on what people will be able to achieve. If you really, really care about other people and you really, really want them to do more, then you will start with you and you will do more. If I want my people to be in great health and I'm not in great health, am I going to have any influence, any impact on them? No. So where do I start? Personal growth. We talk about like mindset. We talk about heart set. We talk about skills. Leaders are readers. They say it for a reason, not because it sounds cute, because it's true. How many of you struggle? I know Julie said, sometimes these little voices get in there, right? How many of you struggle with that where you're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you got like 14 reasons and the little devil on your shoulder told you either you weren't the person, you didn't have the time, you didn't have the skills, you would do it later. Just me. You got to drown this shit out, right? Like if you're serious, you are going to absolutely consume every piece of information in the world. Do you all know what a book represents? Think about it for a second. Wisdom, learning opportunity. Somebody is going to take 2 decades of their life and they're going to put it into 300 pages. And they're going to give you an ability to learn everything that took them 20 years. And they're going to give you the ability to learn it in a week. What an incredible gift. And if you'll be a crazy, voracious reader, you are going to smoke everybody. You will never, ever, ever be wondering what to teach at your sales meeting again. You will never, ever, ever need to worry about what kind of video you need to record. You'll have it, right? Earners are learners. We're always learning. It's where Abel came from. Always be learning every day. It's where it came from. You've got to always be learning something. You are doing what you need to do to become the best leader that you can be so that they will then go, hey, you know what? If Sandy's doing that, maybe I should be going to a class that's really good for me, right? Imagine when you start sending that out on social media, where all the people that you've connected, because that's part of your growth strategy, your attraction strategy, are now seeing that you're doing those things. Imagine when you start doing little posts where you're like, hey, you know what? I learned this one thing from this lady, Lucinda, and you share some of the things that maybe that's impactful to somebody else. Well, now you're being influential to them, and boy, you're the broker before the broker's a broker. We talk about do and teach. You got to learn it, and then you got to do it, and then you got to teach it. There are no shortcuts, okay? You can't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night and come in here and show up and be like, oh, here, listen to me. In fact, I'd slap your own hand, okay? Don't be that person. Those are frauds. If you ever get yourself into a situation where you're having a conversation with somebody about something that they should be doing and you get jammed up, the reason you're jammed up because you don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? So don't do that. It all comes back to you and what your experience is. And I'm not saying, for those of you that have not sold real estate before, I'm not saying that you can't teach somebody how to do an open house, that you can't teach somebody how to do a business plan. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that sales is sales is sales. It doesn't really matter, okay? We talk about scripts and dialogues. Y'all, just take the Lethal book of scripts, the Lethal scripts for the sales warrior. Take that book and read that book, and instead of real estate, change it to whatever product that is sitting in front of you, okay? And then you'll be like, shit, right? Because sales is sales is sales. I've sold almost everything, right? Like once you understand sales, well, then I can talk about it. I don't care if we're selling telephones, if we're selling protein drinks, if we're selling, oh, this is the dumbest thing, right, ever, is pens, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay, right, but you have to learn it, and then you have to actually do it. And you can do it quietly. You don't need to be like all demonstrative about it. Just go do it in your own life. That's what we talk about, the 4 foundations, right? Do it. But remember, you're the ceiling, okay? And then the last one is authority and influence, or both. Some of you struggle. How many of you struggle with the, like, do I really have the authority to be talking about this right now? Okay, so look at me, okay? You have the responsibility, you have the moral obligation, because you said yes to the position, to get your authority. It's yours. You have to own it. Nobody can do it for you. You are the only person that can do it. Now, the people around you can give you everything that they have. That's knowledge. That's not wisdom. See, they say knowledge is power. That's not true. Knowledge is not power. Power is in wisdom. That's when you know how to use it. You'll only know how to use it if you know what it is. That's your responsibility. There's this thing called YouTube. There's this thing called Google. There's this thing called Sales Warrior. There's this thing called Corner Office. There's this thing called Kingmakers. All of the things, they're all meant to teach you exactly what to do. If you can say it in your sleep, step by step by step, then you have the authority. Do you not?
All right, what'd you learn? Hopefully you learned specifically about how to make deposits so you're not always making withdrawals. Somebody in your life needs to watch this video. Do me a favor, share it with them now and subscribe for more. See you later.